Is Dee Alford about to become the most surprising casualty of the Atlanta Falcons preseason? Or is this just a wake-up call he needs to reclaim his starting spot? The writing on the wall couldn't be clearer for Dee Alford right now. After what can only be described as a catastrophic 2024 season, the veteran cornerback finds himself in the most precarious position of his NFL career. We're talking about a player who went from being a reliable slot defender to becoming the primary reason opposing offenses had field days against Atlanta's secondary. Let's be brutally honest about what happened last season. Alford wasn't just bad. He was historically bad for a starting cornerback. He got picked on more than any other defender on the Falcons roster, which is saying something considering how much this defense struggled overall. Every offensive coordinator in the NFC South probably had Alford circled on their game plans as the weak link to attack relentlessly. The numbers tell a story that's hard to ignore. When you're allowing more yards and completions than any of your teammates, that's not just a rough patch. That's a fundamental breakdown in your ability to do your job at the NFL level. And in today's pass-heavy league, having a liability in the slot is basically like playing defense with 10 men on the field. Here's what makes the situation even more fascinating. Everyone expected Alford to be gone when he hit free agency. The general consensus around the league was that his time in Atlanta was over, that the organization would cut ties and start fresh at the position. But then something unexpected happened. The Falcons brought him back. The coaching staff made a calculated gamble that 2024 was an outlier, a perfect storm of circumstances that led to Alford's struggles rather than a true reflection of his abilities. They pointed to his first 2 seasons, where he showed real promise and looked like he could develop into a solid NFL cornerback. The question now is whether that faith was justified or if it's about to blow up in their faces. But here's where things get really interesting. The Falcons didn't just bring Alford back and hope for the best. They've created a 3-way competition that's going to be absolutely brutal for everyone involved. Clark Phillips III has been moved back to the slot after showing improvement every year he's been in the league. Then there's Billy Bowman Jr., the rookie who's apparently caught the eye of defensive coordinator Jeff Ulbrich in a big way. This isn't just about depth or having multiple options. This is about survival. The Falcons have essentially told Alford that his starting job is no longer guaranteed, and if he can't prove himself during preseason, he might not even make the roster. That's a stunning fall from grace for a player who was considered a key piece of the secondary just 2 years ago. The slot cornerback position has evolved into something completely different from what it used to be. With teams running 3 receiver sets on the majority of their plays, the slot corner is essentially a starter who needs to match up against some of the quickest and most elusive players in the league. It's not a role you can hide a struggling player in anymore. It's front and center in every defensive game plan. Phillips III represents the safe choice for the Falcons. He's shown steady improvement throughout his career and has the kind of reliability that defensive coordinators love. He might not be spectacular, but he's not going to single-handedly lose games for you either. In a league where avoiding big mistakes is often more important than making spectacular plays, that consistency has real value. Then there's Bowman Jr., who brings that unknown factor that makes coaching staffs excited. He's fresh, he's hungry, and he apparently has a skill set that fits what Ulbrich wants to do defensively. Sometimes the best way to solve a problem position is to inject new blood and see what happens. The rookie doesn't have the burden of last season's failures weighing him down. But here's what makes Alford's situation so precarious compared to his competitors. Phillips III and Bowman Jr. are both on those beautiful rookie contracts that give teams maximum flexibility. They're cheap, they have upside, and even if they struggle, the financial commitment is minimal. Alford, on the other hand, is getting paid veteran money to produce veteran results. The brutal reality is that if Alford has another poor preseason, he becomes expendable in a way that the other two simply aren't. The Falcons can cut him without significant financial ramifications, and they'd probably sleep better at night, knowing they're not trying out the same player who got torched repeatedly last season. This is where the preseason becomes absolutely critical. Every snap, every coverage, every tackle attempt becomes a statement about whether Alford deserves another chance. He's not just competing against Phillips III and Bowman Jr. He's competing against his own reputation from last season. The psychological aspect of this can't be overlooked either. Coming off a season where you were the weak link in the defense has to mess with your confidence. Every time a receiver runs a route in your direction, you're probably thinking about all the times you got beat instead of trusting your instincts and technique. That kind of mental baggage can be harder to overcome than any physical limitation. But maybe that's exactly what Alfred needed. Maybe the embarrassment of last season and the real possibility of losing his job will bring out the best in him. Sometimes players respond to adversity by rediscovering what made them successful in the first place. His first 2 seasons proved he has the talent to play at this level. The question is whether he can access that talent consistently. The Falcons are hoping they can resurrect Alfred's career, but they're also smart enough to have backup plans in place. This isn't a team that's going to sacrifice their defensive integrity for sentiment or loyalty. If Alfred can't prove he's fixed whatever went wrong last season, they'll move on without hesitation. The clock is ticking and the pressure is mounting. Can D. Alfred salvage his career and prove that 2024 was just a nightmare he's waking up from? Or are we watching the final chapter of his time in Atlanta unfold in real time? The preseason is about to give us our answer, and for Alfred's sake, he better hope he's ready to prove he belongs. What do you think happens? Does Alfred bounce back and reclaim his starting spot? Or is this the end of the road for the veteran corner in Atlanta? Drop your predictions in the comments.